Partner betrayal is disorienting, heartbreaking, and results in absolute confusion for the betrayed partner. You worry that nothing in your life was real, and you fear that you will never be able to trust your spouse or yourself again. Well, welcome to the Rebuilding Trust podcast with Carol the Coach. I'm Carol Jurgensen-Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and what I can promise is that when you listen to my podcast, you'll begin to believe that there is hope. We will be hearing from experts all over the world who specialize in problematic sexual behavior, sex addiction, and infidelity. Together, we will be asking them the hard questions about how you both can rebuild safety, find strengths, grieve and mourn what you had, what you never had, and what you fear you will never find again. The truth is that rebuilding trust is possible, and I am going to show you the steps to working together to build a whole new marriage based on the honesty, authenticity, and transparency that your marriage deserves. Rebuilding Trust with Carol the Coach. Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen-Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and I gotta tell you, this might be a little rough because I'm learning a new podcast platform. But I thought today I'd talk to you about the 5 domains of post-traumatic growth. But to do that, I really want to talk about the 3 phases of partner betrayal according to Ercom. When a couple comes in, they're in crisis. And we have to help the crisis management phase of partner betrayal by seeking safety and stabilization for the couple. Well, to do that, the betrayer has to work on his or her sobriety. Let's just call it a him. We get him into recovery. We talk about recovery tools. The betrayer has a lot of options, and that'll help to make the partner safe. Now, after that, we believe in truth-telling, and that's through a therapeutic formal disclosure, followed by a polygraph. And then, on top of that, what we need to do is have them finish that process with an emotional impact letter and a restitution letter. Okay, when that's occurred, then we're all ready to teach relational skills that will really help. And it's at that point, when you're working on those relational skills, you may want to have a counselor or a coach begin to interject skills that will also point you towards post-traumatic growth. Now, the 5 domains of post-traumatic growth are simple. You know, Tedeschi and Calhoun, who were research pioneers in the field of post-traumatic growth, interviewed people that have been through horrendous things like you as a couple have. And even worse, they interviewed Holocaust victims, or I should say survivors. They interviewed people that had lost kids, people who had been combat veterans. Really hard, difficult things. And what they found was that they really, as they were interviewed, discovered that these people had 5 characteristics that actually made them feel stronger as a result of the crisis, the trauma, the stress, post-traumatic stress. And those 5 things were the following. I want you to get a piece of paper and write them down. So those 5 things were that those people reflected that they had a deeper appreciation for life. You know, they didn't take life for granted, and they didn't take people for granted in their life. And I know that you have a new appreciation for yourself and for your partner, your spouse. Now, secondly,
the people that went through the trauma also felt like they did a better job of relating to people. They saw people differently and they reached out to them. They wanted to help them. They were more empathetic. That's a pretty important thing. The third relational thing that they learned about themselves is they could identify their own personal strengths. They knew who they were. And so they were able to say, you know what? As a result of this trauma, I am stronger, I'm more resilient, I'm more empathetic, more determined, more tenacious. And the list goes on and on. So I'm going to ask you, what are your strengths? What do you believe about yourself that may have changed or gotten stronger, even though we never would have wished this on you? Ever, ever, ever. And then that led them to believe that they had a new sense of possibility for their life. You know, I have worked in the field of sex addiction and partner betrayal and infidelity for a long, long time. And both organizations that grew me up, APSATS, the Partner Sensitive Training Institute, and ITAP, the Sex Addiction Training Institute, they taught me that oftentimes people want to give back in this field. I mean, that's what this podcast is all about, giving back. And my colleagues in both institutions are recovering sex addicts and they're recovering partners. Now, not everybody in this field is. Like myself, I'm not a partner. I'm not a betrayer. I fell into this because I wanted to help kids. But that's another story for another day. So they have this new renewed sense of possibility, what they can accomplish. And that leads them right into the fifth domain. And that is that they have a greater sense of their own spirituality and their own relationship to the universe. So those are the 5 domains. And I want you to think about, are you seeing any of those domains occur in your life, whether you are the betrayer or the betrayed? I'm Carol Jurgensen-Sheets. They call me Carol the Coach. And I am so glad you're here with me today. We'll see you soon for another kind of psychoeducational podcast with and without guests. Sometimes it's just me alone. But sometimes I get incredibly fascinating guests that not only teach you, but they teach me.